Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing to you Once Upon a Time, Season 3, Episode... what was this? Episode 7. Yeah, Episode 7, Dark Hollow. This episode was incredible. It really was incredible. It was a really great episode, or was it, no, Episode 7 or Episode 6? Let me just check that. Yeah, Episode 7. This episode, as I said, was incredible. I absolutely love this episode. There's a lot to talk about in this episode because we learned a lot more about quite a few of the characters. And I definitely want to get to that. And we have this big cliffhanger now that's really going to get into it. And I think they're starting to wrap up this whole Neverland storyline. So, the first thing we want to talk about is we are back in Storybrooke. Honestly, I thought this is where the whole episode was going to stay. I thought we were just going to stay here. We weren't going to see Emma and all of them. But what we see is that everyone's very concerned about Emma and Mary Margaret and David and Henry and Regina and Hook and all of them. They're not sure where they've gone to, and basically Ariel comes there and she tells them how she's there to help them out. And as soon as Belle hears about this, right away she wants to team up with Ariel to try to save them and get them off the island. And yeah, I really like Belle and Ariel's friendship in this episode. But then there are these two guys, basically, and they just think those two guys are there because they want to destroy magic. And that's what they basically think. But there's basically this box that they have to find, because before Ariel left, Regina and Rumpelstiltskin said, you can leave as long as you find this box. So they are looking for this box, basically, to basically get them off the island. And it also is going to do, it's also going to help Ariel's bracelet. And, but it turns out that those two guys are actually there because, and this is a pretty big twist, because they are looking for their sister who was captured on the island by Peter Pan, and yes, you guessed it, it is Wendy. And those two people are John and Michael, and they are looking for Wendy, who has been on that island for several years. John and Michael have aged, and they've just been looking for her all this time. That's why they're really there. They were hired by Peter Pan because of this, and I mean, they were hired by Pan because of this. At first, they think they were just hired by Pan, but really they're there to just get their sister off the island because she's trapped there and she doesn't want to be. So this is really big. It really puts a lot of things into perspective, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But we see that Ariel leaves. She leaves Storybrooke. She goes back to Neverland, and Regina gives her the power for her bracelet, which basically means that whenever she wears it, she can have a tail or legs or whatever she needs. So, luckily, she's good with that, and I was really happy with that. But there's a lot more going on in the episode besides that. And I also love seeing a lot of the characters again, like Jiminy Cricket and Belle and the dwarves. I really like seeing that. But the other big thing that's going on in this episode, of course, has to do with, well, let's first talk about Henry. Sorry, that was a Twitter update. Let's first talk about Henry. Henry at this point does not trust Pan at all. He thinks that Pan is basically keeping him from something. And Henry knows that his family is looking for him, and Pan says he needs him to stay. And we see this girl, and it's that girl that Neal was friends with. And it turns out that that girl that Neal was friends with in his past life was Wendy. That's who it was. It was Wendy. Wendy was friends with Neal, and basically we see that Wendy's been captured by Pan all this time, and she's like, can I get out of here? And Pan says, no, I need you to do something. She basically staged this whole thing where she pretends that she's very sick and everything, and basically she tells Henry, I'm dying and it's affecting me, and magic is dying, and if magic dies, I die. So basically Pan tells Henry that he needs to save magic in order to save Wendy, basically. And because he's the heart of the truest believer. Now, the real reason for this we don't know, but then we find out that all of this is total bullshit what they're saying. The actual thing is that we don't really know what's going on here. Pan wants to, well, we found it in the promo, but I'm not really going to say it because we found in the promo, but we're going to find out in the next episode what really is going on. But it's pretty crazy with what's going on. It looks like in the promo that Pan wants to be immortal, and that's very interesting. But it's definitely going to be very interesting to see what happens here, and I really enjoyed this plot. I like where this is going, and I just think it's really cool that Wendy is the girl that Battlefier liked all this time. I think that was really cool. Speaking of Neal, and Neal was friends with. Speaking of Neal, Emma's kind of torn between Neal and Hook. The thing is that she really can't decide who she wants to pick at this point. Having a love triangle on the show, I don't know if that's working for me. It's not that I don't like it, it's that it's not the type of show where you expect a love triangle. And they're trying to figure out who she likes more, and basically they find out that the way to stop all of this magic, and they found this out, is shadows. Pan is to destroy Pan's shadow. That's how they get them off the island, and that's how they can get off of there. So as long as they kill Pan's shadow, that's how they can get off of there. Pan's shadows almost attack Neal and Hook, but Emma recites this spell basically that gets her to light the light, and it gets the shadows in there. So they're hiding now. And they basically said, how were you able to do that? And she said it was from Regina. So that is how she was able to do it, and I think that was really cool the way that whole thing worked. And eventually they asked her, who would you choose out of the two of us? And she says she would choose Henry because Henry's the one who makes her feel loved. Neither of them really makes her feel loved. And that really just, it makes them both really heartbroken because they both really do like her. And I feel really bad for Emma. She is put in a very awkward position right now where she has to choose between two people who she loves. You know, she loves both of them, I'm sure. But she can't really choose between both of them, and it's kind of crazy. So that's pretty cool what's going on there, and I definitely enjoyed that. And the only other thing we have to talk about is, well, they find out about Wendy and everything at the end. But the other thing we have to talk about is that Mary Margaret and David. Mary Margaret is at this point is pissed at David. She just does not want to talk to him, and David doesn't really understand what's going on here fully, and he's kind of like, what's going on? And she's really upset because he did not tell her about the poison that he had, and he basically tells her he did not want to tell her because he did not want her to have to stay on the island with him if he, had that poison and couldn't leave. And she basically says even if that did happen, she would stay by his side the whole time and do whatever she can to tend to him and be with him and everything. And I think that whole scene was beautiful. I love the way that was done. I thought the chemistry between the two of them was definitely there. You can definitely tell that they have chemistry in real life because it's really showing on this show. And I thought that whole scene was just fantastic, and I really, really loved it. And in the end, they make up and everything. And now their main priority is to, one, they know how to get off the island. They just have to find Henry and possibly free Wendy. We can see that Wendy really is not completely, she doesn't really want to go through with this plan. She doesn't want to lie to Henry. Because, I mean, let's face it, Wendy is as old as Henry. She's not that much younger than him. And she's not that much older than him either. So she really is not comfortable with lying to Henry, but Pan says, oh, no, we have to lie to him. And what we find out in the promo is that the real reason that they want to get this is because when this is eventually going to happen, Pan's going to become immortal and Henry's going to die. That's what we find out from the promo. I mean, you guys know that if you guys watch the promo, that's what's going to happen. I actually think that was a terrible idea to spoil the real reason why. We should have just waited for the episode to start. But there was no flashback in this episode, which actually I was kind of happy about because how many flashbacks can you do? I also kind of think they're wrapping up this whole island storyline. Do you guys think they're wrapping it up? I definitely think they're wrapping it up, but let me know what you guys saw of this episode. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I think it was definitely one of the best episodes of the season. What do you think of the whole Wendy thing? Do you think they'll be successful in getting Henry off the island? Or do you think Pan is going to be successful? I think it could be either way. Do you think Wendy really wants to go through with this plan? What do you think about that? And also Emma, who should she choose? Hook or Neal? I think she should choose Hook, but I mean, I think all of us think she should. And that's basically it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it. And also, do you think they're going to be able to get Henry off the island? I really hope they can. That's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And I'm going to go now, guys, because I have to go watch The Walking Dead. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye.